and today's card is a quick and simple one. I started off with the Greeting Farms Flutter Heart stamp set and then chose this little graphic boy and girl image, inked it up with Brilliance graphite black ink, and then stamped it onto this little rectangle of CC Designs white cardstock. So once I've got that stamped, I grabbed my Fancy Pants, this is the Love Story 6x6 pattern paper pad, and I grabbed my rectangle Spellbinders dies, which I don't use very often. So I die cut the heart pattern paper with the rectangle die, and then I die cut some black cardstock with the scalloped rectangle die. This was the sort of card that I had actually planned out ahead of time, had it all sketched out, the layout, everything I wanted to use. So basically it was just a matter of putting it together and not really fiddling as much as I usually do with figuring out what I'm going to use and layouts and whatnot. So I chose Stampin' Up! Crumb Cake cardstock as my card front, and then adhered my focal point onto that, as always using my ATG gun. So once I've got that, I took an R27 Copic marker to color in the little heart. You could use anything for this though, like pencil crayon, red marker, it doesn't have to be a Copic. And then for the sentiment, I cut a strip of Stampin' Up! Real Red cardstock and then chose this little boy meets girl stamp from the Flutter Heart set. Then I used my embossing buddy on the cardstock so that the embossing powder wouldn't stick to anything but the stamp. And then inked up the stamp with Whisper White Craft ink, again from Stampin' Up! Centered that onto the strip of cardstock, just like so. So once I've got that stamped, I want to emboss it, so I'm using white embossing powder, and I always just use coffee filters to clean up after myself. It's just way easier. So once I've got the embossing powder on, I use my heat tool to melt it, just making sure it's fully melted. There's no specks of powder, because if any of it's unmelted, it'll just come off when the ink dries. And see, as I always do with coffee filter, you just fold it in half and flick it a little bit, and you get all the embossing powder back in the container. Little to no mess. So once I've got that, it's just a matter of lining it up on the card. And my idea was, I took a pencil, I was going to cut basically flag ends on each end, so I just used a pencil to mark where I wanted the center to be, and then just used my scissors and cut 2 little notches, just like so. So super simple. And if you can hear anything in the background, it's my kids playing upstairs, and they're just being little monsters today. So yeah, it's been a long day. Anywho, to attach the little strip sentiment, I just used my piercer, pierced 2 little holes, and then used 2 white mini brads to attach it to the card. So then once that was done, the card's just about finished. I grabbed this little heart border stamp, again from the same set. Like I said, quick and simple, and actually inked it up with Versamark, which I haven't used in forever, but I just wanted it to be really faint. I didn't want the hearts to be super noticeable. So inked it up with Versamark, stamped it along the bottom of the little card front, and then inked it up again and stamped just the remaining little bit of an edge. And that's it for the card front. So again, ATG adhesive, and then adhering it to the card base itself, which is, again, CC Designs 110-pound cardstock. And then for the inside, super simple, I grabbed a strip of crumb cake cardstock, and then my favorite things, little tiny scallops die, and die cut some black cardstock, adhered those together, and then adhered that to the inside of the card. And then the piece that's hanging over the edge of the card itself, you just flip it over and use a pair of scissors to cut it off so that everything lines up nicely. So quick and simple. And then I grabbed one more stamp from the Flutter Heart set. This is just little love, like banner flags. So that one I inked up with Memento Ladybug ink. I'm really impressed how their inks work on clear stamps, especially brand new clear stamps. Like, it inked it up really nicely. So I stamped that onto some white cardstock, trimmed it out with scissors, and then adhered that into place. And then once I've got that adhered into place, I cleaned off that little heart stamp, and then inked it up again with the Ladybug ink, and then stamped that onto the bottom of the strip of cardstock, and that's all there was to it. So as always, there'll be links in the description box below the video. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!